The Florida Panthers have lost their captain and one of their best players probably for the season. Armando Velez of Locked On Panthers is here to discuss the impact of the injury and where the Panthers go from here. All that and more next on today's Locked On NHL Podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here. Welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Florida Panthers, the Mondo man himself, Armando Velez. And Armando, I wish it was under happier circumstances for the Florida Panthers, but Aleksander Barkov, surgery on the injured knee, most likely out for the season. How big of a blow is this for the Florida Panthers' hopes of three-peating?
It's a huge blow for the Panthers and their chances to three-peat. And now this changes the conversation on how the Panthers really, truly approach the regular season. I mean, the timeline that the Florida Panthers gave was 7 to 9 months. But if you're looking at the minimum when it comes to Barkov being out, that could be April that he could be coming back. Yeah, the Panthers don't have the benefit of not having a playoff cap this time around because of the changes to what the NHL did for this season and even in their upcoming CBA. But this is a huge blow. They were already without Matthew Tkachuk. They're already going to be without Tomas Nosek at least through December for both of them. So this is tough for the Panthers, and now everybody's elevated up a line. The whole third line that was outstanding for the Panthers of Lundell, Luostarinen, and Marchand. They're now your second line. First line is now Bennett, Reinhart, and Verhaeghe. So now this makes the bottom six a little bit weaker for the Panthers. So it's gonna be truly tough. Barkov is the heart and soul of the team. He's also the heart and soul of Finnish hockey. This is going to be Aleksander Barkov's first time returning to the Olympics since 2014. He was so young the first time he went to there, and he also got hurt during those Olympics too for Team Finland. So this is and the fact that Barkov's in his prime and he's missing this, I mean, you just feel for the guy that he's not going to get this opportunity, and it's going to be tough for the Panthers, no question about it.
Who is hurt most in this lineup by Barkov's absence? What's the ripple effect?
It's not really so much. I think it's that's a tough question, Gil, to be honest. The bottom six is definitely the one who's more hurt. If I had to choose one person, it's probably Evan Rodriguez, because he's shifted. He's usually playing wing, and he's played center from time to time, especially in the 2024 playoffs. But he's currently filling the third line center position for the Florida Panthers. They didn't shift Eetu Luostarinen into the wing, even though he played it during his when he was first with the Florida Panthers. Sam Reinhart hasn't played center, since really the trade from Buffalo to Florida. Although he does take faceoffs on the PK and on the power play as well whenever it's on the right side of the ice. But Evan Rodriguez, he's going back to that position, a position that he doesn't usually really play, at least during his time with Florida. So it's going to be an adjustment period for the Panthers here. But I do want to add this on whom it may benefit. It may benefit someone like Anton Lundell, because he's learned so much from Aleksander Barkov. He lived with him when he first came from Liga in Finland over to the U.S. to play for the NHL. And never had to play in the AHL for the Panthers when he first signed his ELC. So he's been ready from the start to play for the Panthers. He's a second line center playing. He's been playing third line, but he's now being elevated in that position. But this could really help Anton Lundell. But I think the part of the ice that it hurts the most is more likely the penalty kill. Because Barkov and Reinhart being that 1-2 punch, maybe is it going to be Sam Reinhart and Anton Lundell? And thankfully for the Panthers, getting a Brad Marchand who could play those PK minutes, that at least adds another player to your lineup to play, to at least roll those units out. And during the summer, Gil, when we were talking about Matthew Tkachuk's injury and the surgery, we were talking about how this helps the Panthers keep their players and with Jesper Bokus and Evan Rodriguez. Now they're likely to finish the full season with the Panthers and even play for the Panthers even next year, because they both have a year under their contracts after 2026. So it's also opportunity for them to stay on the roster as well.
Obviously, if he's on LTIR for the season, it does free up some cap space. Will the front office of the Florida Panthers try to bring somebody in to try to upgrade where they're at right now for the season?
I don't think it will be immediately because if you have the chance to bring an Aleksander Barkov back, you at least weigh those options, and at least you want to remain hopeful. And thankfully for Barkov, this happened now instead of November, December, where the 7 to 9 month timeline would be around May. And there's no guarantee that you're going to get to the second round or the Eastern Conference Final to begin with. According to Puckpedia, the most cap space that the Panthers could use if Aleksander Barkov is designated to return is $3.8 million of it to fill the roster and at least buy a little bit onto the roster for the Panthers. They could try some retained salary routes, but the thing is, the Panthers don't really have assets to use in order for trades. So, but do the Panthers go after someone like Evgeny Malkin, who's in his last year of his contract with the Pittsburgh Penguins, but at the same time, Kyle Dubas is also going to do right by his players. If his players don't want to stay, like him and Sidney Crosby, they're going to do right by them. There's also possible connections to JG Pageau of the New York Islanders. Jack Roslovic is still a free agent. Could they bring him in on a 1-year deal? So that's one player that you won't need to give up assets as far as to bring in to the roster to at least fill in the center position, at least temporarily.
So what are the keys now to success? You're in a difficult division. It's a deep division. You said, getting out of the first round isn't a given. Is even making the playoffs a given after losing Barkov?
Well, nothing's a given now, especially down your best center and your best winger in Matthew Tkachuk. So nothing is now. We have to really watch this regular season and really go on a game by game, week by week basis, all that. But I do really believe that the Panthers' floor ceiling without Barkov is still pretty high. I'm not ready to say three-peat Stanley Cup championships or even Eastern Conference champions right now for the Panthers, but I do believe that the depth that they have built throughout the year, they could at least try to overcome, at least get into the dance, and hopefully get Aleksander Barkov back by the time that mid-April does come around. So this is going to be a heck of a challenge for the Panthers. I mean, we're really going to see what Sam Bennett is truly made of now being the top line center. I mean, a lot of Panther fans were thankful that Bill Zito was able to get him re-signed. And I mean, this last year was the most points that he had ever had in his career. But I was saying that in the first maybe 3 or 4 years of that contract, that it was going to at least look great for the Panthers. And so hopefully this is really where he's going to really make his $8 million here. So we're going to truly see how impactful that loss truly is. And we won't really see that until we play games. But he's not replaceable. That's the thing. He's not.
And who steps up leadership wise? Because he's your captain. He's heart and soul. Who steps up in that role?
I'll take Paul Maurice's line from what he said over the weekend is Sam Reinhart doesn't necessarily wear an A, but he can be a captain anywhere in the NHL. Yeah, those the Tkachuk wears an A as well. Aaron Ekblad wears one, but you're gonna probably see Sam Reinhart really take a true leadership role with the Florida Panthers. He's their best defensive forward for them. So that is the one player who's gonna at least and it's funny because character personality traits, both those guys, Barkov and Reinhart, are two guys who don't really talk too much, but they do it by their actions and they know when to do it at the appropriate when it comes to even when they do win and they win ugly, those are guys who know when to step in and just say, hey, these are habits that are not going to help us win through and when we get to April. So this locker room and the culture overall of the Florida Panthers, they are very calculated when it comes to knowing when to speak up, whether things are going well or when they're not going so well.
Well, it's going to be leadership is going to be tested. We'll see how it goes. Armando, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
They can find me on X at MondoMan12. They can follow the show Locked On Florida Panthers podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And the season has definitely gotten a lot more interesting for the Florida Panthers, as now we got to navigate things without two of the best players. So make sure to follow along, because I'm looking forward to what this team is truly made of, one way or the other, especially their depth. So come follow me on X and on those podcast platforms, and you'll get to see my opinion and so much more.
All right. Thanks so much, Armando.
Thank you so much, Gil.
Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. And if you and your significant other share expenses, this is a great way to stay on the same page. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL.